Today's video is all about emotional intelligence. And what is emotional intelligence? It's the ability to have self-control, to know your own emotions, understand what you're feeling, be socially aware, understand the feelings of others. And why does that matter? It matters because when you have emotional intelligence, people that have emotional intelligence tend to be more successful in their work. They are more successful in their relationships, their marriages, with their children, with their families and friends and their communities. They have more influence and they just live better and more peaceful lives. And if you don't already have your emotional intelligence activated, watch this video and we're going to talk about just what it is and how you can activate it. But first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Green Elude Mental Gems. This channel is dedicated to leveling up in all areas of your life. So let us learn together, read together, but most importantly, grow together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. So I have 10 keys of an emotional intelligent person. So let's start with number 1, okay? You are aware of your feelings and how they impact your day to day. Let me ask you guys this question. Feel free to sound off in the comments. Are you aware of your feelings when you wake up? Like when you wake up throughout the day, are you aware of how your feelings can impact your day? An example I can give of that is if you just got into a fight with a friend and you're like, you're a little annoyed by it. Do you go throughout your day? Maybe someone who's not emotionally intelligent or emotionally aware may go out throughout their day and they don't quite know why today is just a bad day for them. What happened? They're not, owning up to, or maybe they're really genuinely sometimes just not aware that this little fight that you had this morning now seeps in through your whole day. Maybe you had a fight with a boyfriend or your wife, your husband, whatever, and it seeps in through the rest of your day. You go into work, you have an attitude with people, you're this, you're that. You're not aware of how this one thing impacted you and impacted your day, or how it will impact your day or those around you. An emotionally intelligent person would have this fight or disagreement or whatever and be like, okay, I'm in a crappy mood, and this is why. Like, you can have a conversation with yourself. Like, this argument just put me in a really bad mood, and I catch myself snapping at people, or I have a little attitude, or I'm looking at the world in a negative outlook, okay? Now, if you are aware of someone like this, when things happen, you are able to pinpoint just what it is. It's easier to deal with like depressions, feelings of sadness, and stuff like that when you can pinpoint what triggered it. Because we all have triggers, and certain things activate our triggers. An emotionally intelligent person is aware of that, and they are aware of how their feelings impact their day to day, that it's not just you're doomed to depression, you're doomed to sadness. Sometimes it can be a toxic environment that you are in. That is why you're perpetually depressed. Or habits, lifestyle habits that you have to be aware of how these lifestyle habits, like if you just got off a binge last night, you were drinking, partying out with friends all day, I can guarantee you're not going to wake up in the best, chipper, most happy mood, right? So it will show and impact your day to day, but you have to be aware of that, because that's how you are able to control your actions better, when you know the source of why you're even acting like that. And you're able to make some changes if you're consistently are aware, like you're self-aware and you're like, hey, every time I drink, I have a terrible attitude. Let me slow down on the drinking, or let me start to work on how I can cut this out. Or let me work on when I get into a fight with my significant other, to not spread it out to others. The second is emotional regulation, the ability and willingness to manage, regulate, and control one's own emotions, which is what we're talking about with the first one. It goes hand in hand. Once you know why today is a bad day, or why do I feel this way? Sometimes you could just wake up and you're just not in a great mood. You're like annoyed with other people, or even other people's successes or whatever. Once you sit down and reflect, activity that I would like you guys to do, if you struggle with this a lot, I do encourage everyone watching to purchase journals and just kind of write your thoughts out. It don't have to be your day-to-day today, like it's not a diary, but it's literally how you feel for the day. Today, I feel XYZ. And be very detailed. I went on Instagram and I saw blank, and maybe she was traveling to this place I've always wanted to travel. And I was like, dang, I want to travel there. And then that very thought made me think about, dang, but I would need X amount of money to go to this place. And then this thought made me feel like, what am I doing with my life? I'm this age and I haven't done it. So you start going down the comparison route, and then it led to this, and then it led to that. Once you start writing out your thoughts, you realize first of all, the trigger in the first place is me being on Instagram comparing myself to somebody else instead of just being happy for them. But then what is this? I'm comparing where I'm not. And maybe sometimes you comparing where you're not is not always just a jealousy or envy thing, but it's sometimes us just knowing that we're capable of more, but we're not doing more. And so you're like, hey, I also don't want to suppress this feeling that I should be doing more or that I'm capable of more. So let me write out what else that I could do to get me to the goals that I want to be at. Or how can I too be in this place where I could travel to the destinations that I want to travel to? You know, once you write things out, you're able to see clearly, because the last person that you need to be delusional with is yourself. Do not be delusional with yourself. Do not lie. Do not make excuses for why you feel away. Be completely honest and look back and see what it is. And once you are, learn to regulate those emotions. Control your emotions and know that I feel like this, whether it's deep breathing exercise, whether once you start to compare, one thing I do, it works for me. I used to do a list of all the things I'm grateful for just for that day, little miracles that we don't even pay attention for. And it sounds cliche, but literally breathing. You know, right now there's a lot of unrest in my country of Haiti, a lot of political unrest. I cannot go on social media, look at it, even talking to family is very depressing. And sometimes I look around, I'm like, I'm just so grateful that I have water to drink today. I have food to eat. I have peace when I walk out. I'm not like expecting, you know, gangs and stuff to just pop up on me and stuff. Like, I just count my blessings, you know, in a sense, to just get out of that funk too. It helps to regulate. But even aside from that, that's a practice that I've learned to do for myself, is to write down all the things I am grateful for once I cannot regulate my moods. And it can get you into a better mood. Other things, practices that you can do to regulate your emotions, if you are feeling anger or whatever, breathing exercises, calming music. I love listening to jazz. Maybe you have a favorite scent candle. And if you're sensitive to scents and odors, maybe you have a favorite feeling, maybe a warm towel on your face. Like, have face towelettes, put warm water on it and just put it on your face. And after that, put a cool cucumber. Some people are sensation. It will calm you. And if you play your favorite type of music in the background, instantly that mood will go away. And then you just tell yourself, this is temporary. This is temporary feeling. Feelings are temporary. No feeling is permanent, you know? And it's a practice that really helps to regulate. And the more you start to practice that, you just become emotionally superior to yourself, not in comparison to anyone else. But once you can regulate your emotions, you can master them, and you can have these self-soothing practices. Nothing can get you off balance, because you know how to get back into balance. And the third is, when you receive negative feedback, you keep your emotions in check and ask yourself, how can this make me better? Now, comment below if you struggle with this, if you struggle with getting criticism, constructive or not. I'll be very honest with you guys. I used to struggle with getting criticism a lot. I took it very personally, especially if I felt like I was already doing my best, or if it's in an area of my craft that I'm already super sensitive about. I cannot handle criticism all the time, right? The practices for someone who's emotionally intelligent that I tell myself, because in these videos, I'm always speaking to myself first. I'm not perfect, obviously, and we're all leveling up together. Like, y'all witnessing me level up with y'all, you know? And one of the things is criticism. But one way I looked at it, I think it was in the inception of my YouTube journey on my other channel, my documentary channel, and I would get criticism for things like my accent, or if I mispronounce a word or something like that. And at first it used to hurt my feelings, because there was just some names, like, no matter how much you try to pronounce, you know, like, it just couldn't, with the language barrier. And it used to bother me. But, you know, I looked at it this way, and it helped me. It was a subscriber who sent me a very thoughtful email and just explained to me how much they love my content. And I just feel like, hey, you know, actually, if you did work on this, that, and the third, you know, look at it this way. And I'm like, you know what? There's people out there that really want to see you succeed. They do love what you do, and they just want you to be the best at it, and to not look at everyone who gives you a criticism as if they're trying to bring you down. And why couldn't I work on this? So now there's practices that I do where I would practice the name over and over and over and over again, record myself saying it, comparing it to the recording of the person saying their name until I get it right. And I'm like, hey, it helps. It helps in changing that, because it don't throw the person completely off. There's mistakes you're going to do. There's criticisms you're going to get of things you can't change. Like, especially There's a lot of celebrities that get criticism on there. Oh, you should lose weight, or you should change your nose, or you should do that. I do those documentaries. Of course, those are criticisms of things that you cannot change. That's just how it's going to be. You cannot change that. And there might just be topics you don't want to talk about. There's requests that some people would want. I'm like, hey, I'm not too comfortable talking about that. Maybe they criticize you not going into that. That's just that. Just like in the workplace, you have your boundaries, you have your limits. You know that there's some criticisms for things that you might not change. I'm not telling you that everyone that gives you criticism, constructive or not, for you to take it and then you have to like change and become this whole new person. There will be criticism that is just not in your favor for you to do, you know, but you have to be able to also take the criticism and see how it can help you. And another thing, even if it's bad criticism, even if it's from a quote unquote hater, the way I look at it is this: haters are the biggest propellers into your success for one reason. Imagine if you have someone or a group of people looking at you to find every fault, to nitpick where you're wrong. If you actually listen to them and be like, "Oh, you don't like this? You don't like how I have this structure or whatever? Or maybe you don't like my lighting? Let me work on my lighting." Once you work on your lighting, they can't say anything about your lighting and you just upgraded your lighting or whatever. Now what do they have to say? Oh, they don't like how this looks on you, or maybe this color or this and that. And they may have a point. You use haters' criticisms because your haters make you better in the sense that they nitpick the things that you could work on. Actually, look at it this way. It's like your haters is going to keep it real with you, while your fans may not. Your family may not. Your spouse, whoever, may not, because they want to support you. They want to be friends. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. I love it. I think you did a great job. But your haters will keep it real because they want to humble you. They want to keep you out of place. So the people that's going to be the most honest with you are people that dislike you. And when you look at it like that and you truly embrace honesty because you want to grow, you actually seek feedback. A lot of major corporations and companies, when they have new products out in the market, they do tests with people, like, you know, random people too. They'll pay them, hey, come try out this, come this and that. And they get real criticism from the people on what they can improve, what they cannot. And this is how they grow. You got to see that with yourself. If you're only getting criticism from people that don't want to hurt your feelings, that love you, that's not going to keep it real with you, you're going to stay in the same place. And sometimes it's okay to get criticism from people that don't necessarily like you. And you know what that makes you? Emotionally intelligent. Okay? Because emotionally intelligent people can take it. They can take it, they use it, they transform it, and they become better. The fourth is you have empathy for others, which is something that I like to believe empathy can be learned, but you do have to be born with a level of empathy, right? But empathy is just understanding people, being able to put yourself in other people's shoes and not just seeing yourself. If you are very self-centered and in every situation you only see yourself, your feelings, and you talk that way and just seeing yourself and your feelings, then, you know, but an empathetic person can see even how their actions could hurt someone else. Like, hey, when I said this, and I know it's walking the thin line of people pleasing, etc., especially if you struggle with that, but not at all. It doesn't necessarily have to be people pleasing to really be mindful of how you word things or how you deal with people, to be cautious of your words, to be cautious of your actions, right? So for instance, someone who is emotionally intelligent will sit down and say, hey, I wonder how my words made this person react like this. Yes, they were rude. They were very disrespectful in how they said this. But then I was disrespectful too. And I think I provoked them here. I could have worded this different. Or maybe I came a little aggressive. I know I don't want to hear them right now. I just want to have a response and go back and forth. But maybe they did have a point. Let me kind of, you know, change this about myself. Let me figure this out. You know what I mean? So that is a way to look at it. And being empathetic also is just feeling other people's pain. Like, you don't necessarily even have to go through something to really sympathize with someone. Emotionally intelligent people can really get to that point and they feel intensely and very deeply. Number 5 is you know how to apologize and hold yourself accountable, which is self-explanatory. You do not make excuses for yourself. You know how to say sorry when you're wrong and it's not for a motive and it's not egotistical. Hey, I messed up here. I apologize. Number 6 is you don't hold grudges, which I know is difficult. Comment if you struggle with that. I know it's difficult for a lot of people to just let things go, but It's a practice, to learn to pick your battles, to know, it's not worth it. Not every action needs a response. And I think with age, that should get better. Now, there are people that are like in their 60s that still haven't learned this. But I think for the more evolved person, you learn as you get older, everything don't need a response. You can just change your behavior, but you don't have to make things worse. You don't have to go to the gutter with people. My motto that has kept me out of trouble has been that I'd rather be apologized to than having to be the one apologizing. That's just my motto. Some people don't like to apologize. If you're a person who struggle to apologize and don't like to apologize, make sure you don't put yourself in situations where you will have to apologize. I prefer to be apologized to. I don't want to be the one in the wrong. I rather you be in the wrong and you come apologize to me. And because of that, I'd avoid having grudges or escalating things. Because when you hold grudges, you escalate things, right? And when you see the person I feel away, don't go into a room where your heart sinks. Ugh, constant drama. Just don't be that person. Let go. Forget. It sounds corny, but forgiveness really is for you. It's for you first, because it's so much more when you think about it. It feels much better to be at peace with people than to be at odds with people. It takes a lot of work to be at odds with people to avoid going to this place because when everyone just has peace, everyone is just good, doesn't it feel much better? Yeah, so don't hold the grudge for yourself, at least. Even if the other person wants to hold the grudge, you're like, listen, I'm good over here. Okay. Number 7 is social awareness of other people's emotions, behaviors, needs, and psychology. If you go into, like, you can kind of already tell what a person will need before like you can anticipate a person's needs before they even need it. That is just loving people. I think an emotionally intelligent person is just someone who loves people in general. Because when you love people, it's kind of easy to anticipate what they will need and how to accommodate them and welcome them. And they make great hostess. People who are emotionally intelligent usually make great hostess. They're the types that think of everything when you go into their home. They have their little towels, toothbrush, toothpaste already set out in your room for you. They have little sleeping eye bags and eye mask or whatever, sleep mask. They have, like, I've been places where they'll even have bonnets for you, etc. Just great hostess and host. And you're like, oh, wow, 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 wow. Very, very nice. And it's just anticipating people's needs before. When you're in a room, someone who's not socially aware just can't read a room. You know when to be quiet. You know how to read situations. You're not judgmental or too critical with people because you also are aware of psychology, people's need. Like, you ever heard people say, hurt people, and they go around saying this, but they actually believe it and are kind even to the meanest people because they understand they're just hurt, right? A lot of people who are emotionally intelligent was like, no excuses, you shouldn't, da, da, da. They don't believe in the hurt people thing, and they're just not having it. No. But you forgive a little bit more easier. You're more compassionate towards other people. You're more empathetic because you truly understand the psychology behind people's behaviors. You really study people. You love people. That's why I say an emotionally intelligent person, I believe one of the first keys to it is definitely to genuinely love people and have an interest in people. It's easier to be empathetic, to be sympathetic, to forgive, to not hold a grudge, to be aware, to understand their psychology, to be empathetic. You know what I mean? But if you don't love people, you're not going to care about none of that. And I really don't think you can love people if you don't love yourself. You have to have some form of love for your own self. So they all go hand in hand, that somebody who's emotionally intelligent also loves himself. And this is why you're accountable with yourself. You love yourself so much that you really don't want to be delusional to yourself. So you don't have yes men around you telling you yes all the time. You're not even a yes man to yourself. You hold yourself so brutally accountable that you don't make no excuses for yourself. Next is someone with very high emotional intelligence will have such interpersonal mastery that they become influential within a social environment. So another way you can spot an emotionally intelligent person is watch their influence wherever they're at. They tend to influence others. They tend to, people want to dress like them, want to talk to them, want to be around from them, or ask their advice for things, or value their decisions and value their opinions, etc. They're very, very influential because one, when you love people, you can be and more, even more influential. Or when you study people, there's a lot of people that don't love people, but they study people and the psychology of people. I do think that there are some emotionally intelligent people that aren't very loving, but they're emotionally intelligent by means of manipulation to control. But for those who don't, you can be very influential because you're aware. You already have all these attributes. You're naturally just going to be influential. People are going to gravitate to you and they're going to just want to know what you think about this or what your opinion is. But that's an easy way to spot an emotionally intelligent person is someone who is very influential, and not influential because necessarily of their status, if they're famous or this, that, but because of genuinely who they are. Like their opinion matters, not because of what they got or who they know, but because of who they are. That is an emotionally intelligent person, not the power that they wield. And number 9 is they're usually great leaders, okay? Emotionally intelligent people are very unbiased. They care for people, okay? I'm not talking about power-hungry people or people that have the illusion of that, but they make great leaders because they can emphasize with their subjects. They can have sympathy for their subjects, and everyone who comes around them don't mind them leading because they have this extra sauce about them that just shows that when they come into a room, they just already anticipate the need of their subjects. That's why they make great leaders. They're so aware that they anticipate the needs of their subjects. And in your home, say you're a homemaker, your children are your subjects. Your husband, you have to look as your subjects. When I say subjects, I don't mean people who are beneath you, you're so superior, you're up there. But these are people you've been entrusted with. Everyone that God has placed into our life, we've been entrusted with for a purpose. We may not know the purpose, right? So your children need to feel, especially if you are a man and want to be the head of household and the leader of the household, they need to feel like, hey, dad anticipates our needs. So we feel safe, and dad is a great leader. Same for mom. Women tend to be very emotionally intelligent creatures because we are almost wired to anticipate the needs of others and to have a lot of these attributes that are listed here, right? So with your kid, you can already know when your kid is in fear, something's not right. If they're hungry, if they're comment below, right? You one look at your kid, you already know they're about to be sick or this and that. You can just know if your kid is uncomfortable around someone. A lot of people, but there are unfortunately mothers who, for whatever other reason, may not be as emotionally intelligent. They really can't read their children. They don't know anything. It's something that you can just practice. If it's an area you struggle with, I suggest you do some of these practices that I stated in the beginning. You pray about it. You just study people more, get the laws of human nature, even the 48 laws of power, even study the Bible, because even your greatest philosophers that were atheists read the Bible to study just human nature in it. So you don't even have to really believe in God to use it as a study tool. Definitely will help you to be a great leader and to know how to anticipate the needs of your subjects. And as a mom, you go to the home, moms anticipate already when they go out, my kid might soil their pants. What if they pee in it? Let me bring extra changing clothes. There's moms that will bring out extra goodies, extra diapers, extra toys. Let me pack all this extra essentials. They're already anticipating what someone may need. Their children may need. Very, very thoughtful, right? And they do that with their spouses and stuff like that. And they just make great leaders of the home, even in a soft way, right? In a softer way, where everything is just in balance. And an emotionally intelligent person knows how to even anticipate what they will need, what they could need. Don't just assume that you won't. You pack, just like you pack for your kids, you pack stuff for you too. And you're ready, you're prepared, you make lists, you just don't want to be without. So you're very organized with everything. And number 10 and the last is they're great communicators. Because they love people, it's easy to communicate. Whenever you're talking to someone and it's just so easy, conversation flows so easily. They're great listeners, they're great communicators. It flows, that is a person who really took the time to work on their emotional intelligence, and it just all goes hand in hand. And I really think if you really struggle with this, really get a journal and write out your feelings. Understand your feelings, as that is the root to becoming emotionally intelligent, is holding yourself accountable, not making excuses for yourself, understanding your feelings, and start writing out how you feel so that you can actually really understand your feelings. Write it out, just plain. Today I feel this, and just keep rambling. And then the beauty of it is when you go back and read on another day, not even the same day. Let a week pass, 2 weeks, or even a month. At the end of the month, I will look back at some of the stuff I wrote. So, wow, you wouldn't even know you felt that way. And it becomes easier and easier to understand your own emotions. But you cannot understand others if you don't understand yourself. Just like you cannot love others if you don't love yourself, you know? So you have to work on understanding yourself, because the more you understand yourself, I mean, it even helps you to not be manipulated, but it also helps you to be emotionally intelligent with others and just in general. But this is all I have for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thumbs up if you watch until the end. Leave a comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. Until next time, bye.